Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, I hope somebody is here. I hope this is working right. I have a new setup up here in YouTube, and it looks like it's a bit strange to me. So I'm trying to find the right feed. Give me a moment. I know I can get it somewhere. I've got it. I know I've got it.
How do you learn a subject or skill?
I don't have it. How can I find where I can go live? All of a sudden, everything that I had on here before is kind of a little bit off. And so I'm trying to figure out what is going on. It says I'm live over here, but it's something that is not live. I think I've got it here. One moment. I've got it back. I've got it. Is anybody here? This says it's upcoming. If you're there, hold on. I'm going to stop this and start one more time. Streaming. Everybody, I should be here. Welcome to the studio this evening. I have one, or I had one. I still can't see what is going on in my chat. Please, if somebody is there, let me know. I'm having serious trouble here. My encoder looks good over here. My restream looks good. I've got one person on. Ramon, hello. The only thing I can't do is see my stream on YouTube. So I'm going to rely on Restream to help me out tonight, I guess. Shannon is there. Hi, Shannon. Good to see you. This is going to be a little different for me because it is a little goofy. Ralvin, nice to see you. Nice to see you. I'm still trying to get things straightened around here. I'm a little behind the ball. I had company over for dinner, and it ran a little bit long. Anyways, okay, you're not worried about that. So let's see. Let's see what I can do. I am painting. Hey, there they are, some elves tonight. Here are my paints. They're a bit messy. I was using them last night. I painted some elves last night, and this is left over here from them. Hello, Stacy, all the way from North Carolina. Good to see you here. Okay, so I'm going to get ready to go. I'm out in the studio tonight, and it is freezing here. I hope I'm stepping on something. I hope this goes well. All right, so let me step back for a moment. Ralvin, is there a problem with my connection? The problem is I can't see anything on my YouTube feed that shows that I'm online, which is where I typically stream. And then I use Restream to go over to Twitch. Hi, Minty. Nice to see you. But my YouTube stream is not coming through for me, so I can't see anything here. So I am having just a little bit of a problem. Okay, so let's get some basics done and out of the way so you can see what I've got going. I'm using some of my old paper. This is, holy cow, I've got craziness going on everywhere. My whole screen up here just started flashing. Thirsty for a brew. Twitch is a go. That's great news. The paper that I'm using tonight is my Strathmore windmill paper, or wind power paper. The title of this video is still Snowflakes from last week. Shannon, thank you for saying that. Where I'm going to go and see if I can't change that right now. Let's see. ELVE. Let's see, save these changes. I don't know if that changed it or not. Trying to just change the... All right, so that should change everything on YouTube, but the strange thing for me is I can't see any of it. Okay, so I'm going to be using tonight my Rubloff brushes. I'm just going to not worry about... Can you merge the chat so we can see the YouTube chat in Twitch? That should have been done. I don't know. I'm having a really hard time here tonight. I was behind the 8-ball getting out here. I got out here 2 minutes before everything started. I'm having a hard time. I'm just going to go ahead with it. I'm sorry for the chat on Twitch. Thirsty. I don't know. I haven't played around with it enough to know how to do that. I rely on Restream to do that for me. I can log out of Restream and back in real quick. Maybe that will help. It's supposed to go back and forth both ways. Let's see, I'm getting out of it now and getting back into it. Maybe that will reset it and we can start going in. Okay, so I've got my colors over here. I'm going to try and forge on ahead. I've got my colors over here, and tonight I'm going to be using mostly Pyrrole Red here, a little bit of Alizarin Crimson maybe, and some of this Maroon Perylene. I'm going to be using some of my Azo Orange and Gamboge. And for shadow, I don't normally do it, but I'm going to be using a bit of the blue for shadow. And that's about it. Not too much more than that. Let's see. I'm just going to jump in here. I'm looking up here and things aren't working the way I want them to. And maybe I should stop the entire thing and start over, but I don't want to do that. I don't really goofs things up. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna forge ahead and hope everybody understands. And I hope that everybody can see and make some comments. I don't know. I'm not getting any comments now. If anybody is there on YouTube, please send a comment or write a comment. I'm not getting anything. That would help me out greatly. Oh, still here. Okay, so now I've got a few coming in. Okay, so I'm mixing up a little bit of my Pyrrole Red with a little bit of my Gamboge. I don't want the red to be quite fire engine-y red on these elves. So I'm toning it down with a little bit of, I hate to say it, I'm warming it up a little bit. What I think of as warming it up a little bit with a little bit of this Gamboge. It's going to make it, a little bit more of an orange rather than Angel Yash. Hello, Angel. A little bit more of an orangey red rather than this bright fire engine red that we get with that Pyrrole Red. It is a nice strong red, but I don't want to totally overdo it. And you'll see as we go along that it actually turns into a nice color. Now, some have asked before on the stream if I do a practice painting or how many times I've painted some of these before I do a live stream, and the answer typically is 0. I jump right in and go with it. This one, however, I did do a practice painting on, and I did it last night, and I actually gave the painting to my daughter because she has some weird elf fixation. It's really kind of sweet and cute. I don't know how many elves she has now, 20 some elves that she has. It's gotten to be a bit crazy, but she loves them, and so that makes it totally fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint this in a couple of different areas, and I'm going to get those areas completely wet and then play around with the paint in those areas as I'm doing it. So like as I'm here, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to drop in the paints where I think they need to be while this is still wet. I'm just going to darken this side. This is going to kind of be my shadow side over here. And I'm going to drop in a little bit of darker on that side and a little bit on this side over here, like this, with these paints still wet. And it's my hope that this is going to help build up our shadow before we really have to do a whole lot to make our own shadow here. Well, you know, we're going to put on a second layer of this anyways, but this will just give us a little bit of a head start as we're doing this. And however I think this hat goes, you know, there's a little contour to it here and there. I'm just going to drop in some of this darker color. If I can get some of this darker color on here, there we go. And down into that corner. And a little over there and a little over there. And there are the two hats. Let's do this. There we go. That's probably going to be a little bit better. So there's our two hats for these elves. And so I've got those. I'm going to let those dry, and I'm going to move on to another area here. And so the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do a block at a time instead of trying to put a wash on the whole thing and control the whole thing. So I'm going to do this arm back here. I'm going to do this arm here. I'm going to do this arm, then this, whoops. Then this arm probably looks, oh, it comes down there. That's fine. Only got a little bit there. Then I'll come back and do a leg and a leg, and I'm going to do this in bits and pieces just like this, and by the time I get back around to the top, everything will have been dried. Everything will have dried, however that goes, like that. And I'm just going to continue to do this with this nice red color that I'm mixing. Again, it's Gamboge and it's Pyrrole Red. Personally, I think they should just call this Elf Red. Makes a great color. And I think one other benefit of doing it this way is, or if I paint right to this line, and on both sides of this line, right where his knee is, right here, right, you see there's going to be paint that's touching there. Well, the two colors of red are going to be just slightly different, and so we won't have to leave a white line there that sometimes people leave as a highlight line, right? We're not going to have to do any of that. The colors are going to be just different enough that they will show as being, you know, different little areas in there. And then I'm dropping in some of this dark to to begin to put our shadow in here. I still think something isn't right. I don't have anybody saying anything. If you've got any questions, throw them out here. I've got a couple of viewers on Twitch. I know I've got a couple on YouTube. You've got to be out there somewhere. If you've got a question, please throw it out there. Part of the reason I like doing these live streams is because I get the interaction of people, and more often than not, I feel like I learn as much from you guys by answering your questions, or sometimes you guys answer the questions for me. I don't know. Somebody has a technical question, I don't necessarily know the answer, and somebody can answer it in the chat, and so then we can all learn a little bit about it. So if anybody's got some questions, throw them out there. I'd love to hear them. Renee Clark. Hello, Renee. Thank you for joining me this evening. If you weren't here at the beginning, it's a bit of a weird thing for me tonight. My YouTube changed the look of their studio, and I looked at it, at least for me, I looked at it 2 nights ago. I might have looked at it last night, and it was the same interface that I remember, and I just went to get on it right now, and it's totally different than what I'm used to. I'm not even exactly sure how to get to the live stream that I had previously created. So I'm doing it without seeing anything in YouTube, so it's a little odd for me. Shannon, you came back because you enjoyed the channel last week. I haven't tried the snowflakes yet, though. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Shannon. I really enjoy it too. I can't say enough how much I enjoy having all of you guys here painting with me. It makes it a lot more fun. Minty over on Twitch says, I've noticed new Gamboge leaves a rusty colored hard edge. Have you noticed this, and is there less when mixed with another color? I haven't necessarily noticed that. I'm gonna pull out a piece of paper right now, and we're gonna give it a try, Minty, and we'll see if it does. What brand of new Gamboge are you using, Minty? Let me know that. I'm using M. Graham. I don't remember what you said that you use. As soon as I get done with this arm, I'm going to pull out a piece of paper. We're going to check it out. Now, I should say this is just one way to paint these elves. Lots of times I would probably paint over the whole elf in one color of red. Get it some nice color harmony, and then go back over it and define my shadows. Maybe punch up colors in a few spots if I wanted to. I don't know why I felt like this would be a good way to do this this week. When I started doing my elves last night, this is kind of how I started, and I thought it turned out pretty well. More importantly, my daughter thought it turned out pretty well, and so I'm just kind of sticking with that. Okay, let me grab a sheet of scrap paper. Here we go. Here's a sheet of scrap paper, and this is an old bear I did. Wow, this was years and years ago. Let me grab some of this. Let me clean my Gamboge just a little bit. And I'm going to do a nice graded wash here. Let's get a nice full rich amount in here. Let me pull this straight on down. Come on, a little water, a little water. Okay, and let's see what this does. Let's see how this looks when this dries. I'm going to set this off to the side. You're using Winsor and Newton new Gamboge. Okay, I don't know. I have not tried Winsor and Newton new Gamboge. So it's a little hard for me to say. Actually, maybe I have used Winsor & Newton new Gamboge. I have a whole set of Winsor & Newton paints. They're pans, they're cakes in a pan, in half pans. I didn't think I had used any of that, but maybe I have. I've got that set somewhere. I think I lost the set. I was going to pull it out and take a look at it. This needs a little bit more red in this arm back here. So I'm just going to dip in a little bit of full on, straight out of the box, straight out of the tube, Pyrrole red. And then a lot of this arm is going to be in shadow here. In fact, it goes back behind the leg and everything back there, so we can't, I don't know what I was going to say. It goes back behind this leg back there. There we go. We got that. It's a little odd shape. So here's my new Gamboge. You can see it's just got a little bit of a shine on it right there, so not quite dry yet. I don't know how quickly everything's going to dry tonight because it's really cold here tonight. Let's see. I think some of them use PY 150 in the mix. Renee says, let's see, my Gamboge is PY 151, pigment yellow 151, and pigment orange 62. So I don't know what 150 is. The colors are a bit odd because if I were doing it, I would put like 150 and then 151 right next to it, and the colors would be just a shade different. But the color manufacturers don't really do that. They don't listen to me about stuff like that. So I know that any of the colors right next to each other could have drastically different color temperatures, color values. They could be drastically different. So I don't know. And this goes back in behind there. There we go. Just trying to be a little careful not to paint over too much of it. Okay, so let's see. While we're waiting for our new Gamboge to dry up a little bit, I hope everybody's ready for the holidays. PY 150 and PR 209. Pigment yellow 150 and pigment red 209. I would suspect it's the red 209 that's giving it that rusty color. I don't know that for certain, but that would be my guess. Let's see, I'm just going to keep right on chugging with this guy here. My holidays have kicked off tonight in grand fashion. Like I said, had some relatives in from out of town to celebrate Thanksgiving with us, and woke up this morning to a rain shower. I'm going to say this, and for most of you out there, it's going to sound ridiculous, but it is the first rain that we have had in about well, at least 6 months, probably 8 months. And along with the rain came a nice dose of cold weather. So it is cold and wet here. Today, it rained most of the day today, and it's great. New Gamboge, let's see, PY150 is a heavy pigment. I wonder if it pushes the red to the edges of the puddle. I can totally see how that could happen. If PY150 is indeed heavy, it would push everything else out around it, but oh, I got too much water here. And go just like that. So this is why I like having all you guys here, because now I get to, so for the first, I don't know, decade that I did watercolors, I didn't even care about pigment numbers. I didn't care about the color names. I didn't care. I just wanted to grab my stuff and paint. And so now I'm trying to learn more about all the pigment colors, and it's a catch up for me. Let's see. Renee, wow, I live north of Seattle, so rain is not our issue. Wow, I wish I lived up there near you. We would have, it's been so dry here. Shannon, I keep forgetting you guys have Thanksgiving tomorrow. Happy Thanksgiving. Let's see, PY150 is nickel azo yellow. PY150 is nickel azo. Oh, so nickel azo yellow. Yes, and M gram one is 151, right? 151 and 62, right? And let's see what it looks like as it's drying. It's pretty dry. There's a little bit of dampness I can just feel on here, but oops, I don't want to put anything on there. But you can see it's a pretty consistent color. I don't know that I've gotten much of any rustiness. Maybe I should do this. Is that better? I'll get it right up to the camera so you can see. There doesn't appear to be much of any rust color around here, Minty. I think it's probably that the red is getting pushed out. It's separated a little bit. That red is getting pushed out, and it's just settling around the end of it, around the edge of it. So that's got to be it. I've always found, now I know a number of people that really like the Winsor Newton colors. Now I'll say I like the M gram colors. I've used them more than any other brand of paint, and granted, I will admit I don't have the most vast experience using 20 different color companies. I don't use a lot of Sennelier, I don't use Core, limited use of Daniel Smith, but I have used Winsor Newton, and I'm not wild about all of their colors. Some of their colors I think are fantastic, and that's just probably true of most paint manufacturers, but I'm not wild about most of their colors. And the other thing I'm not wild about with Winsor Newton is that when their paint's dry, they are rock hard, like super rock hard. And I've never understood why they need to do that. It just seems like, I don't know, it seems like they don't need to be like that, but they are. But that could be, admittedly, part of my bias from how easily the M. Graham paints re-wet. So they're so nice. For me. Okay. I seem out of focus. Well, that wouldn't be the first time that somebody has told me I'm out of focus. But if you're better, Shannon, I'm not going to worry about it. Just like you said. All right, lots of color on here now. I'm going to get away from this one, and I'm going to come back and paint this guy over here. I'm going to do his whole body. Here, a bit bigger of an area, but still not very big. I'm not using a really big brush here. This is a number 4 round. And now this is probably the only place that I am going to leave the tiniest little white line. Maybe I won't. I don't know. We'll see when I get to the other sides. Have I tried Da Vinci paints? I have. I actually like Da Vinci paints. One of the first sets I bought was actually a set of Da Vinci paints, and I've used it through. And I toy with getting some more Da Vinci paints or buying a whole nother set of Da Vinci paints. I loved them. I thought they were fantastic. I really thought they were good. And I'm going to say that, and then you're going to say, well, why do I not still use them? Well, the real reason I stumbled upon the M. Graham paints was because the bookstore at the university that I work at had all M. Graham paints in it, and so I could get the M. Graham paints at a discount. And if it's discounted, it's for me. So I would buy them at the bookstore there, and that's where I started liking them. And I've just stuck with them. I know somebody else has something to say. I'm going to look up in just a second. Let me get the rest of this leg painted in really quickly. One more turn of the page, and I think I'll have it. There it is. And then I'm going to look up. I know there's a question out there I haven't answered. And I should say before I go too long, thank you all for taking your Thanksgiving Eve time to spend with me. Let's see. Minty says, I agree. I started putting glycerin in the wet paints, which helps smooth it out. It dries when it cracks without the glycerin. It's just, Winsor Newton paints are so hard. They're so hard. Renee says, you have a hard time finding them there. Da Vinci is on my paint list to try. Yeah, I really did like the Da Vinci paints. They are quite nice. I loved most of the colors in them. I didn't. I get all weirded out sometimes with the ochres and the burnt umbers. Are those the ones I'm trying to? Ochres are sometimes ochres, not ogres like Shrek, because ogres are like onions. I know that. But ochres sometimes have a weird kind of a tint to them, and it bugs me just a bit. There we go. That guy's got a little bit of a. I didn't do this I didn't do this guy's bottom here at the right time. So I'm getting a little bit of a back run in it, but we are going to fix that on the next layer. That won't be a concern at all. And I know there's a shadow under here somewhere. Maybe something like that. I think, so Da Vinci is on your must-try list. I think that the ones I'm going to try next are the Mission Gold watercolors. I'm hoping that I'll get a set of those for Christmas. We'll see if I really do or not. Oh boy, that I saw went out of focus. So I'm hoping to get a set of Mission Gold for Christmas. If I don't get one, I might just go ahead and buy them on my own. But I've talked to a few people that really like them, and I just want to give them a shot. See how different they are. They're not overly cheap, but they're not like super premium either, so that's always good. Minty, you have read that ochres are usually opaque, but the Daniel Smith yellow says it's transparent. If Daniel Smith says it's transparent, I don't believe him. I think all the ochres are, oh man, the best you're going to do is, hold on. I might have to redesign an elf here. I touched up above there and put a dark mark where I didn't want to put one. Not the dark mark. That would be from Voldemort. Boy, I just have all the kids' movie references going today, don't I? I think that all ochres are opaque. I think Winsor Newton says that theirs are transparent too, and I don't believe that for a second. Slightly transparent. Yellow. I have the Winsor Newton the M-gram color chart over there. M-gram says it's slightly transparent. And I guess slightly transparent means mostly opaque. Not exactly sure how that reads, but I think that's what that means. But if I want a painting that is going to have a lot of lightness in it, if I'm going to use ochre, it's going to be at the end on the top layer, and it's going to be as light as possible. If I'm not worried about the light shining through, then I don't worry about it. But they are, as I understand it, they are all at least somewhat opaque. All right, I'm getting this guy on here now. Let's see. The W, I like and have both the Da Vinci and M-gram watercolor paints. I like them more than Daniel Smith, but I like the genuine paints in the Daniel Smith line. I'm not, I like, here's what I like about the Daniel Smith paints. Daniel Smith is not afraid, from what I can tell, to take a chance with anything. They put out lots of cool colors, like not cool as in temperature, but just crazy colors that they make. And I like that they're not so stodgy, like, oh, well, that's not a traditional watercolor color, so we can't do that, so we're not going to do that. Man, they do some research, they find a cool color, and they put it out there for everybody to use. So I love that they're pushing the bounds that way. But I'm a little less enthusiastic about the color of some of their colors. To me, they don't always look either as bright as they should, in my opinion, or as, you know, they're not, maybe not as pure as they should. Sometimes they look a little, not dull isn't the right word, but sometimes a bit muddy or odd a little bit, and it's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of a bit odd to me. Just doesn't seem exactly quite right. Let's see, I'm just dropping in some of this. Is just straight maroon perylene, and where I think there needs to be a shadow on this guy, I'm just dropping it in. All right, he's going to be more in shadow, and we're going to come back and do a bit more work on him anyways. He's got a lot down here in shadow. Oh, here we go. Let me take a little bit of that out. It's a little bit wet here, so I'm just going to take a little bit of this off, and then I'm not going to futz with it too much. Okay. So now we can do one of two things. We can come back in and we can do the faces and the hair, or we can go back and finish up our reds. I think since we're already on the reds, I'm going to take that approach. And so I'm going to do more of a mix now. This is going to seem a little funny, of my Pyrrole red here and my maroon perylene. And maybe I could throw a little bit of alizarin crimson in there. I don't know that it's going to need too much. But this is going to help to add onto, help to darken up a bit more of these shadow areas. I'm going to put a little bit on, and then I'm going to blend it out just a bit, maybe a little bit more of this maroon. I really like this maroon. Not too many people use it. I love it. I think it's a wonderful color. It's got that nice, oh man, come on. It's got that nice red tint to it, but it also is a nice heavy full color, so that you can really darken some areas up with it if you need to. It's very nice. So I'm just using a bit smaller of a brush here just to pull that edge out. It is a round hat, so I want to make sure we preserve some of the roundness of this. And I think I like that on him. That's going to lighten up really nicely. And go back to my brush here. Let's get some color on this guy's hat. Maybe a little bit more water here. But I do want to keep, I'm putting this touch of the pyrrole back in here because the maroon can be very strong and it can really overpower some lighter colors. So if I put the maroon back in there, if I put the pyrrole back in there, then it should help to retain a little bit of that original color that we had going on here. All right, what do we have? What do we have? It's going to be easier to get to there from this side, and just push that color right on around. And there we go. We've got two hats that I think look pretty good. I'm not going to touch them. I could futz with them and do more, and I'm not going to do that. And so now I need to look and decide where. Oh, Mrs. T, hello. Happy Thanksgiving. Mrs. T, let's see, Mrs. T, greetings all. But it's true of most brands. Renee Clark, I like some of the Daniel Smith and not others. You never know till after you bought the tube. Yeah, right. You know, I've noticed that even on a lot of the color charts, when you buy the color chart or when you get the color charts and you look at them and you go, okay, this is the paint I want. You know, lots of times the paints still aren't exactly right even then. And that's, I mean, you get them home and you're all excited because you've got the paint you want just the way you want it, and it's not. And welcome, Mrs. T. I should say you've been in the kitchen. What are you pre-making? What's the specialty for tomorrow? Are you doing the traditional turkey, potatoes, mashed potatoes, sweet potatoes? I think we're just doing a simple. A little turkey, mashed potatoes, sweet potato, and green beans. So that's what's going to be on at my house. Y'all can come on over. You have to have small portions. we don't have too much. All right, so there's my second layer on that arm. I think it ran out a little bit more than I wanted to on that one. I'm going to try to control it just a little bit better on this next one. That arm is a little thin, and my paint was a bit much. All of it. You're going to have all of it. I love it. I love it. Thanksgiving is we ought to have like 2 Thanksgivings a year. It's such a nice holiday. Everybody comes over for one day of the year. You sit down. You don't worry about anything else. You share some good food with some good friends and some family. It's fantastic. Renee says you can't see the granulation or luminosity on a color chart. You can see some of it here. Let's do this. Here's my M gram one. I'll take a minute or two. Let me pull this up. Here's my M gram chart, and you can see everything from the cold bismuth yellow all the way down to Payne's gray and everything in between. Some of these, they've done a pretty good job. So here's Gamboge that we were just talking about. PY 151 and PO 62, and you could just see a little bit of granulation there. Where is, oh, interesting, the cobalt blue is so dark on here, it should have some granulation, but you can't see any of it. The cobalt green, you can see a little bit of the granulation here, but you're right. You're seeing a lot of the paper that they did those original swatches on, more so than some of the granulation that comes through. So you're right about that. Okay, let me get this guy's arm here. This guy's arm is waiting for something. It's saying it needs a little bit of help. Yes, I'm a big fan of Bob Ross, so I do actually make up stories for a lot of things as I paint along. Hi, Michelle. Renee says, I prepped today by making turkey brine and made cranberry sauce. Ooh, you're brining your turkey. Lots of flavors in a brined turkey. We made cranberry sauce today. We prepped with that, and I think I'm going to start first thing in the morning by peeling a couple of dozen potatoes of various different kinds, I believe, or at least two anyways. There we go. Now he's got an arm on there, and it looks good. Looks just like I want. Just joining in. Happy early Thanksgiving to my neighbors down below from Vancouver. And of course, your Thanksgiving was last month, right? Michelle, I think. And Minty says, these guys are so cute. Great job on the shading. Thank you, Minty. They're getting there. I'm trying to actually work on making my darks. What's going on with my camera? Come on back into focus. I'm trying hard to make my darks extra dark and my lights light, if that makes any sense. I think, you know, I don't want to put on let me start over. Let me just rewind about 10 seconds. What I want to do is, where I have a dark, I want to force that to be really dark so that my lights then look that much lighter. That's what I want to say. Here we go. This guy's got, I'm going to paint his bottom and his leg here. And then once again, I'm going to blend that out. And I'm using two brushes here to do this with, so that I'm not constantly washing one brush and getting all my paint off of it, and then washing it again, and, you know, putting paint back on, and then washing it again, and then putting paint back on. I don't need to do all of that. So I think a second brush works out pretty well. I can just keep clean water on it and just keep right on going with my dirty brush. Not my dirty brush. My brush that is full of paint. Let's say it properly, Michael. Let's see. This guy's tummy is all dark in through here. And I should put a little bit right on his back. If I put a little bit on his back, a little bit of this shading right on his back, he'll actually look much rounder. Right? It looks round on this side over here. Zoom. But the back side looks pretty flat. But if I put like just one really small, thin, dark line here, And then I can blend that out just a little bit. Then he's going to actually look much rounder. And it seems funny. For me, a long time, that was a weird thing to wrap my head around. Why do I need to put a dark on this side if my light is coming in this way? Well, the reason is because visually it's going to make it look a lot better. And now he's actually got a little bit of rounding. Let's see. Renee is on your way to make turkey. Get it in the brine. Let it soak in. I'm going to do the same thing this year. Now, you guys are going to not believe me. But I'm going to do the same thing this year that I did last year. And I'm going to make my turkey in my Instant Pot. How about that? I did it last year and it was unbelievably good. I don't have an Instant Pot that is so big that I can put the whole turkey in there. And like I said, we only have a few people over, so not a giant crowd. So we've got a giant turkey breast, and I put it in the Instant Pot, and it cooks in no time. It comes out succulent and juicy. I mean, unbelievably good. All the juices in there, and I was sold. After I did it last year, I was sold. It was one of the best tasting turkeys that I ever. Well, it was just a big turkey breast. I don't know how many pounds it is, but it's a big kind of a thing, or big-ish. But it was great, and like I said, I was shocked that it was so easy and so good, and I'm doing it again this year. And that would give us more time to play games or watch football or watch the parade or do something along those lines that we wouldn't have had as much time to do anyways. So this is the same thing. I hope I'm in camera there. Just putting in, that little bit of color and then blending it out just so softly on the top, letting it come out, and you've got a nice round leg. Who uses the electric? Renee uses the electric turkey roasting pan. That's a good idea. You don't think your turkey would fit in an Instant Pot, but the Instant Pot, Mrs. T, it is one of the world's greatest inventions. It's unbelievable. Oh, these guys are starting to pop off the page. They're getting there. They're starting to look good. I need to look. He's trying to think what I need to do next here. I think I've got a couple of legs here I need to do something with. So let's get on with those. This one is a little tricky, because if he's got a bend in his knee, that shadow's got to bend that little bit. But down here, you just paint like normal. That shadow comes underneath. All right, and just a little bit. And you can see his knee, this leg, I guess I should say the one I'm painting right now, this leg is a little bit oranger. I had a little bit more Gamboge in there. But if you were to look at this, right, you wouldn't think that's anywhere out of the normal. You would just look at this and go, oh, the light's just kind of hitting it like that. No big deal. This knee is not quite right for me. I'm going to take some of this back a little bit. I'm just going to brush over it a couple of times. I'm going to actually give it a little bit more because I've worn a little bit of that pyrrole off. I'm just going to put a little bit of that on there. I hope you guys can see what I'm doing. I just talked about how it didn't matter that it was so orange, and now I had to put a little bit of extra red on there. All right, there we go. That works. That made that a little bit smaller here. Can you guys see? Can you guys see? Am I too far away? And I'm going to do the leg back behind. And then we'll move on to the hair and the face and whatnot. Let's see. I just need to twist it a little bit here. Just one line like that is all we need. Anyway, I should say the little brush tip that I got, using two brushes really isn't mine. I should give credit where credit is due. I was watching Following the White Rabbit this morning. And if you don't know who that is, I don't know that I can help you. She's I want to say she's Danish, Sweden, Scandinavian, some sort. Watercolor painter. And her page was suggested to me by a watercolor painting, or her YouTube channel was suggested to me by a watercolor painting friend. And so I kind of just subscribed to her channel and went on with my life and didn't do a whole lot with it. And today, for some reason, one of her videos came up on my feed, and it said, "Don't clean your brushes." And I immediately went, "Oh, okay, hold on. What are we talking about? Why are we not cleaning paintbrushes?" And she went on to say, well, she doesn't mean don't clean your paintbrushes ever. She says don't clean them while you're painting. If you're going to blend something, just use a different brush to blend with, and keep all that paint, keep all the colors on there. Everything that you need is on there. And I went, you know what? That makes a lot of sense. I'm painting right over this guy's hair. Okay, if you're wondering if I'm doing this on purpose, I'm doing this on purpose. I'm painting over his hair on purpose because it's going to get covered up. It doesn't matter, and then I won't leave a white line. I'll be sure not to leave a white line on his hairline when I go back and I paint his hair on him. So it's not a big deal. His skin color here is not so dark that it's going to bother anything. So I just painted right over top of it, right over top of his hair, and not a big deal. The only thing I cannot paint over are his eyes. Certainly don't want to do that. In the flesh tone that I have here is Pyrrole Red and Gamboge. Again, same color family, same color everything, only a lot of Gamboge and a little of the Pyrrole Red. And I don't know if it's the perfect flesh tone, but it's passable. If you have this color flesh, I suppose, it's passable. It'll dry to an acceptable color here. I think the key is not too much of the Gamboge. I'm sorry, the Pyrrol red, because it gets really red really fast. And there we are. There's those guys. There's their faces, anyways. All right, so now I have to wait for their heads to dry. Let's see. Well, I missed Renee. Mrs. T, I can cook a 20-pound turkey in like 3 hours, and it keeps my oven free to kick side. Wow. But the downside is, Renee, is that then you got to find a place to store that electric oven for a long time, don't you? Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you do more entertaining. How many times a year do you pull it out? I think my family growing up, we had one, or a relative had one. I remember seeing one around, but we never used it. Okay, I'm going to use blue for some shadowing on their mittens here. I know I said I don't typically, I don't typically use blue for shadow, but this is kind of a fun, whimsical kind of a painting, and I think the blue, a little blue here, isn't going to matter a whole lot. So I'm going to put it on very lightly, and we'll see how it goes. I do need to figure out how I'm going to fix that little bit where I got red on it. Maybe if I just do that and call it good. I'm just putting a couple of lines on here, really. Right? I don't know exactly where the shadows are, but if I put a couple of light lines on here, I'll know that, or whoever views it is going to know that it's a shadow line, just like that. And they're not going to question it a whole lot. All right, I got these a little thick in a couple of places. So it's just real simple. It's not even much of a shadow here. It doesn't need to be much of a shadow. That's perfect. Oh, no, not quite perfect. I do need to put some on their hats up here. I'm just going to draw a little bit here and there. I have to say, when I did these last night as a practice, oh yeah, 4 kids who use it once. I got it. Okay. If your kids eat anything like my brother and I did growing up, I'm surprised you're not using it twice a month. I guess it depends on how old they are. I'm going to have one that's going to eat a lot. I've got a son who is very young. He's 12, and he's bigger than I am. And I never thought I was a small person, but he's huge, and he's getting bigger all the time. So he's going to eat me out of house and home before too long. There we go. I don't need to overdo it, I don't think, with shadows on their hats or their gloves or whatever whatever these are around their necks here. Just a couple of lines to show a shadow here and there. Excuse me. And I think I can look and I can tip this on the side and look, and I think that their heads are just dry. 15-year-old, 12-year-old, 9-year-old, and 3-year-old. Wow, you have your hands full. I think for my mother, just my brother and I, there was only two of us, and we kept her hands full. She couldn't keep up with us. So you have a deep admiration from me. If you have 4 kids, you've got a lot going on. Okay, I just took that same color that I had on their faces, and I just put a second layer down here, just a little bit of a shadow underneath their chin. A little bit, not a whole lot. I'm not going to do a whole lot with their face. I'm not going to try and make their face more round or anything. I'm going to leave it just about like it is. And I've got some color here that I'm just going to mix up. And I happen to know this is just a mix of sepia, a little neutral, and a little Payne's gray. Just makes a, a brown dark mix. They're all 3 neutral colors, middle of the color chart. So I mix them together, and it should give me an even more neutral, if that's a thing. And then we can just draw some hair on them. This guy maybe will leave his hair a little darker, right? Oh, maybe I do. I was gonna say, I didn't think I had a black. I guess I do have a little bit of black in here. I really didn't think I had a black on here. Forgot all about it. There's his hair coming up like that. I'm going to give him a couple little strands of individual hair in there. And a little bit on this side. Coming down. Come on, let's get some good color on that brush. There we go. And all of a sudden, you put some hair on him, and he doesn't look so stark. I mean, the difference between this guy and this guy is quite different. And all we did is put a little bit of hair on him. So not that much. And this other one, I'm going to mix a little bit more of my sepia on here. His hair will be a little bit browner. It'll be mostly the same, but a little bit browner. Come on, I'm good. All right, and his hair's going the other way. Let's give him a little bit of a individual hair there too. And there's his hair. And all of a sudden they're starting to look good. They're looking good. Holy cow, wait a minute. Renee, you have 7 siblings. Holy cow. What a house that must have been to grow up in. I can't even imagine. I'm going to give these guys blue eyes. I think I'm going to... Well, I'm trying to see. I don't want super, super bright. I'm going to find the right mixture. I think that's it right there. I'm going to give them both blue eyes. I don't know if they had blue eyes or not in the picture. I'm going to do the same thing with this that I did with the faces. Is I'm going to paint the entire eye, the pupil, the iris, everything blue. And then we'll come back and paint in the pupil when we know exactly where we want it and how we want it. Well, we're working in a pretty small area here. One second. Okay, I had to grab my glasses. Give me a little better vision so I can see over here just a little bit more. There we go. And then we're going to let that dry for just a second. Mrs. T, you have family grumbling about Elf on a Shelf. Oh, tried doing Elf on a Shelf with 20 elves. It's hard. So I'm taking this time, while I'm letting my eyes dry, these eyes dry up, I'm going to take a minute to look to see if there's any area that I think I really need to fix, something that isn't quite right. And I kind of like it. I don't have too much that I don't like. I think one thing I am going to do is put a little bit of extra dark on this guy's back over here. I want this a little darker than maybe it is. I don't know if I hit this with an extra shot of color or not. But I want that side to be darker. So I'm going to put just that little bit extra on. And just blend it out like I did before. That makes me a bit happier. I like that more. Now he looks like there's more oomph to him, a little bit, if that is a word. It's a little bit more to him. His body goes around a little bit more. Apparently it's a new thing to try and keep the kids in line. That's a new thing for the kids to keep the parents running. That's what it is. No, Elf on a Shelf is a lot of fun. Those pesky elves get into all kinds of things. So I was going to paint these on a shelf. Right, I drew them leaning back against each other like this. I didn't get enough time to run out here this afternoon to the studio to draw my shelf on here, so I'm gonna leave them just the way they are, sitting on white. Wouldn't be my first preference. But I'm not done yet because I don't have mouths on them either. I was gonna say because I don't have the eyes on there, but I don't have mouths on them, and their mouths are pretty simple. Just a little bit of red through here. Not even very much. And not super strong. And this guy, I didn't even draw a nose on this guy. I don't think, I'll bet you if I showed this to you, and you just looked at it real quickly, that you wouldn't even notice that this guy didn't even have a nose. I totally believe that. But I can't do any more with these eyes until they dry up. I think what I would do is, if I'm going to put a nose on this guy, what I'm painting on right now, the only thing I would do is draw it on, like this guy has. He's just got a line drawn on there. I don't have an actual picture of the elves that I can even see. Let me see. So if I could even draw it on, yeah, if you could even blow these pictures up quite a bit. The nose is so muted, I don't even think you would really even need it. So I'm not going to even bother to try with it because it would just, it doesn't add anything to it. And I don't think that we need to do it just to do it. All right, so let me see if I can get a little bit of thick black paint here. And this guy is looking off in that direction. So I'm going to paint I might need a little bit more. I got a little too thick. Come on, black paint. Come on out of there. Coax a good amount out of there. There's one pupil. Oh, you guys can't even see. You can't even see that. That might be a little bit better. We're way in there. There's one. Oh, shoot. Let me get this from the other side, I guess. Let me get it from this side. There's one. You can see those pupils there. And this one, this guy's looking back at that one. So I think I can just barely drop in a little bit of color there. Those pupils have to be bigger. I can look at them and I know that they need to be bigger. What brush am I using? Okay, so that's a great question. I'm using this whole set that I'm using. I have the whole set. These are Rubloff brushes from Russia. I found these on eBay at one point. I've got the whole set from a 00 up to 6, 5. Yeah, up to 6 here. I want to get the white off of here because my camera sometimes goes a bit wonky, as you've seen, when there's too much white. So I've got the whole set from 00 up to 6. The 0 I haven't even opened yet. Here they are. I don't know what I paid for this whole set. It was 80, 90 bucks, something like that, for the whole set on eBay. And I got them, and I actually bought 2 of those. And then I liked them so much I bought the whole set of them, and they're fantastic brushes. They're not super expensive. In fact, when you realize that you're going to get, I don't know, 8 brushes. Is that what it is? 00 to 6 is 8 brushes. It's actually $10 a brush. Is a pretty good deal. So that's what I'm using. Those are a staple, have been for a little while on my painting table here, and they'll stay there for a while because, like I said, I really do kind of like them. Michelle, I just bought a set after you recommended them in the past stream. I can't wait. Oh, did you get these ones, the Master Series, or did you get the other ones, that come unfinished? And I hope when you get them, I hope you come back on a stream and tell me what you think of them, because I really like them. I think they're fantastic. Okay, that's all I've got for you guys this evening. And Oh, good. You got the Master Series. So you're going to have these same ones that I have. Good. Then I really want to hear what you have to say about it. So it'll be a straight comparison. That'll be good. Maybe I'll have you on as a guest or something. Actually, I don't know how to do that, but it would be nice. I'll do something. I'll reach out to you somehow, Michelle, or send me an email, and let's talk about how to do something in conjunction, so we can talk about the brushes. Anyways, just a thought. That's all I've got for you tonight. Here are my Elves on a shelf. They're sitting back to back. I had a great time painting these. I am sorry on YouTube that I had such trouble at the beginning. I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have to take a little bit to look at the new interface. I couldn't get back to the same place I was yesterday on my channel. So that's all I've got. Down below, I've got links to Instagram and Twitter. I've got links to my website down there, links to the beer and the coffee fund if you'd like to contribute to the studio. I'm trying to make the studio completely self-sufficient, and I think that's all I have for you. Everybody, I hope you have a great Thanksgiving, and a safe Thanksgiving also. Hope you enjoyed the Elves, and we will see you back here again next week. Until then, thank you all so much. Bye-bye.